good, everybody? Welcome back to Taps Talk. My name is Aceves-Lewis, your host, here with my co-host, Qudisah Muhammad. Today we are here with Miss Lyons. Thank you so much for being here. She's going to talk to us about skincare. If you could just let us know a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to be into the skincare business, that would be fantastic.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you for having me, you guys. This is really a privilege and a pleasure to be here. My name is Makiva Lyons, and I'm the founder of Memorial Skincare. It's a small skincare boutique in the Memorial City area. It was founded about 4 years ago. I am a licensed esthetician. I've been licensed for the last going on 9 years, and I've worked in many settings. I've worked in spas, I've worked in doctor's offices, I've worked in different kinds of spas, but right now I'm working as a solo practitioner. Awesome. And what that means is I work by myself, and I conduct all skincare treatments. I do all of the intake forms. I come up with all of the not the diagnoses, but I come up with all the skincare recommendations. Mm-hmm. So it's just me doing all of the work for all of the clients that I see.
Oh, wow.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a long time. I got into it simply out of trying to solve a problem that I had when I was younger.
Right.
In my early teenage years and in my 20s, I had really bad skin. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of acne, and my parents didn't quite really know what to do for me. They didn't know how to steer me in the right direction to, get solutions for my skin. So I started the quest on my own. I've tried every product out there on the market, but one day I started to get regular facials. Someone recommended that I go and get a facial done. And I hadn't ever explored a facial before. So once I started with those, I began to notice a pretty good significant change in my skin, and my skin began to clear. And so for me, that was like gold. I had found a solution. So I continued with regular facials. I'm kind of a nerd about ingredients in skincare. Right. So I started looking into every skincare line there was, getting into the products and figuring out what I really liked and what they do in the skin. And I went off and did other things in my career. I went to college and got a degree and worked in corporate America. But the skincare thing actually kind of took off after I started my family. So I went back to school to get a license in it to really understand the nuts and bolts and figure out how it worked as a business. So that took about 9 months for me to complete the licensing for that. Mm-hmm. And once I finished that, I went and worked in a couple of the spa settings that I talked about earlier. And once you actually get out of school and begin working and touching skin and dealing with the client, that's when you really kind of hit a different type of learning curve when you're working in skincare. Yeah. So that took me to where I am today. Wow. Kind of a long story.
Yeah, but it's awesome. I can definitely say that it's an inspiration to me, being that I want to own my own business. So seeing all that you do and you owning your own business while still having a family is definitely an inspiration to me. So you spoke about how as a teen, you struggled a lot with acne and other facial problems. And I know that a lot of the youth actually do struggle with that to this very day. I didn't struggle with it a lot, but I know a lot of people in my family struggle with acne. So if you could just name a few things, just standard things that you can do to promote healthy skin besides a facial, maybe just at-home products that you can use to promote healthy skin.
Yeah. So one of the things that I talk about with my clients is the importance of consistent skincare. And what I mean by that is you're going to want to wash your face twice a day. In the morning when you get up, of course, and then at night before you go to bed. I actually educate people on like very basic skills. For some people are not using the correct product for their skin type.
Right.
And so that's a big piece of it too. You have to kind of know what kind of skin you have. And so there are 3 to 4 different types of skin. There's normal skin, so that's skin that just is more normal, meaning not a lot of oil production, not too dry, not too sensitive. The skin is just consistently normal. It doesn't really do a whole lot. And then there's oily skin, and that skin obviously has a lot of oil through the forehead, nose, and chin, or possibly all over, maybe the cheeks, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes issues of breakouts. So, and then there's combination skin. So that's skin that's usually a little bit oily through the T-zone, so across the forehead, down the nose, into the chin, and maybe like the outer parts of the cheeks are a little bit more normal or dry. And then there's dry skin. So that's skin that doesn't produce a lot of oil. It tends to be dry, maybe a little red, maybe a bit irritated, kind of rough to the touch, looks a little dull and sallow, just doesn't have that healthy glow to it. So based on how your skin normally behaves, you want to choose products that are going to address that skin type.
Okay. So when it comes to skincare products, do you have like a preference of like natural and like more unnatural? Because people start wanting to look at, oh, the shea butter, avocado, all these different things. Like, is there really a difference that it makes to have more natural skincare products as opposed to like chemicals and other things like that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's actually a question that that steers a lot of people's buying choices.
Exactly.
What I would say is often it comes down to personal choice. There are those who really care about looking at the label and seeing that the ingredients are organic, or it's vegan, or it's paraben free, or it's cruelty free, things of that nature. So your buying choices are definitely reflective of how the product is manufactured. As far as how it's affecting the skin, just how efficacious it is on the skin, you can actually get effective skincare in a vegan, all natural line, as well as one that may have a few more chemicals in it. What I will say is the FDA does a pretty decent job of regulating what's harmful in the skincare market, but you do have people who want to take it a little step further, and they don't want to use things with fragrance or dyes or parabens and things of that nature. We live in a very educational savvy society where you're away from a click of a button and you can find information on your own and do some reading up on what's healthy for you in your skincare products, in your food, almost anything. So I would say just read the products and get your own type of education. Me personally, I use products that are not formulated with a lot of parabens. I wouldn't say that they're all vegan, but I do not mess around with parabens, and then I do read up and keep up on the latest products and making sure that they're not promoting certain cancers or not doing anything to disrupt certain body chemistry and things like that. So I'm always kind of reading and making sure my products are safe and efficacious, and I also recommend that way as well.
This is great. So you spoke a lot about ingredients. So if you could just speak on what the connection is between diet and acne production, oil, anything like that, how diet and clear skin go hand in hand.
Yes. So that is definitely a question that warrants good conversation for good skincare. I'm sure you guys have heard the myths in the past that fried foods and chocolates and things like that are things that promote acne. Actually, acne is a hormonal disease, and it's a follicle disease, and it's inherited genetically. So you are usually predisposed to having some sort of acne trait. As it relates to food, there are certain foods that can drive up your adrenal system that promotes a little bit more of a stress response in the body. And when the body endures a stress response, generally it has to come out in many different ways, and sometimes you'll see it come out through the skin. Another thing that promotes the formation or perpetuates acne is hormones. And we all have those. So male and female hormones are another thing. There are certain times in a woman's life, pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy, where the body is kind of going through a hormone balance, and sometimes the skin gets the brunt of that. But to go back to your question about diet, what I would say is, yes, there are some foods that will promote a little bit of the acne condition in the skin, and one of them is like foods that are high in iodines and salts. Believe it or not, those are foods that actually do kind of come in and promote acne. Also, peanut butter is another food that a lot of people don't know that will kind of contribute to acne formation. There are still those people who have their die-hard attitudes about chocolate and fried foods. And what I like to say is it's not necessarily those foods in general, it may be how your body responds to those foods. So, and dairy is another one as well. So what I want people to think about food and acne is you want to start thinking about what types of food may contribute to creating an inflammatory environment in your body, and then how that might show up in your skin. And so foods like dairy, for sure, peanut butter, and foods high in salt and iodides, and kelp. Those are other foods that have been studied to show that they actually do promote a little bit of acne in the body. I wouldn't actually go on record and say that chocolate and fried foods actually do that. I just want to leave your viewers with the idea of, when you're getting involved in self-care, like in these days and times, we're spending a lot of time with ourselves. And I would hope that you would take some time to, look at the TAPS channel, do some personal reflection, and use self-care, meaning taking care of your skin, as part of one of the ways that you actually are good to yourself. Some people look at facials as like a kind of expensive, or that's just for those type of people. But actually, I look at it as it's a necessary way to treat yourself. It's no different than taking care of your hair and your nails and your body and your clothing. It's all part of who you are as a person and as an individual. For some people, the way that their skin looks is very much attached to how they see themselves and their self-esteem. So I encourage people to really take a second look, or take a first look at the importance of using skincare as a way to really take care of themselves.
Okay, so kind of like a final question. There's a lot of stigma, I think, in like a kind of shying away with men, because we want to have good skin, but we don't really want to do all the work to put in, putting on a face mask, on facials kind of seems like, a bit extra for males. Is there, a sort of just like a word to that, guys do need to, keep up with skincare as well?
Yeah, so everything that we've discussed in this conversation applies to teenagers, men, and women. So if you have skin, this conversation is for you. To your point, when we're talking about men and taking care of their skin, I actually do have a few male clients, and they are committed to their skincare routine.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And I love it. If you really want to make an impression in your job or with your family, take care of your skin. No one wants to see you walking around in a beautiful suit and blackheads on your face, So
yeah, very true.
So, and there really isn't a difference between, a line of products for women and a line of products for men. They work for all skins, as I said before. I encourage men to really just take a look at that again and say, hey, I think I might need a facial, or, you don't have to actually do the facials that have the 7 steps. There are, 3 and 4 step facials that you can do too at home. But yeah, it's definitely for men too.
Yeah.
We thank you for joining us here for another episode of Taps Talk. I'm your host, Qudisah Muhammad, here with my co-host, Marcus Aceves-Lewis. We thank you for joining us today, Ms. Lyons. And before you go, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.